But what most models of groups and what happens for groups of people show is that conflict will appear. It gets described in different ways, but it's a thing. It happens for humans. And one of the things that makes our experience of conflict so difficult is our expectation it doesn't arise. So often when conflict arises, we get very distressed because it's something that we wish wouldn't happen, understandably. But what can happen for us when we meet conflict with conflict is that we double down on that and we generate a culture of conflict, which creates very strong binaries of rights and wrongs, and this is how it is and this isn't how it is. So one thing that's really helpful to know is that conflict is a feature of our societies. And the less that we have a problem with conflict, the more easily we can actually move through it. If we go, okay, conflict's going to arise, it's to be expected, we're all human, so what might we do? If we can meet conflict with peace, we create the possibility of a different kind of meeting of people and a group. And what do I mean by meeting it with peace? So I suppose I mean not meeting it with that energy of stress and anxiety because it exists, but I also mean that all conflict created by humans is created initially within each individual human. And what happens is that when one person says things need to be different to how they are, and I don't like them being this way, they need to be that way, what that person is experiencing within themselves is a conflict, is a rejection of how things currently are, and a desire for something different, which creates a mismatch. Now, that's not uncommon. We experience that, and that's kind of how change happens. We identify the possibility of something different. But if that's something different, the means to achieving that something different has the energy of violence and destruction and unkindness, then we enter down a path of division and destruction. And again, a culture of conflict. And what makes it so compelling to do that is if somebody looks like, if you believe that how somebody describes the world, they're correct, that we will all feel better, we will experience less conflict if the world looks how I want it to look. So people get on board with that idea. If we're not experiencing conflict within ourselves and we're in touch with the notion that we can be peaceful within, actually, and there's that space within each and every one of us, which is our true nature. So humanity is often referred to as this really, as something aspirational, that we all have a shared humanity, and that actually resonates with peace. And that is beyond our ideas of how the world should or shouldn't be set up. It's the energy and experience within us of peace. So if we can show up to a situation where people are seeking change and to create things differently in a state of peace within ourselves, we're more likely to inject the possibility that that change can happen through peaceful means. So it's not that the ends in themselves might be a problem, but it's what people are willing to do in opposition with others to get there. And when they're willing to be destructive and be in conflict, it leads humans who think that that's a route to go, or that will resolve their inner conflict, to go along with them. So when we know that it's possible to come from peace, that's really helpful. And when we're in that space of peace and not conflict, we're not in the state of mind of conflict. And when we're in the state of mind of conflict, one thing we're really unlikely to do is come up with really helpful ways to resolve the conflict. If we're in a peaceful state of mind, people often say, I get my best ideas in the shower or when I'm out in nature. And that's because the mind in a settled state is at its most creative. And our true inspiration comes through. We suddenly have an idea how to solve a problem. So if we can meet conflict in a settled state of mind and not a disturbed, conflicted state of mind, we're much more likely to have really helpful ideas that are creative and inclusive and constructive about how to resolve a conflict.